chance. The dead barriers now is when we use trash, stones or sticks. You lay them across the contour. So those is what we call dead barriers.
He has also learned some lessons from the project.
We learn to plant these in trees. We used to plant in 2 or 1, but now we plant in trees, which is gonna help to eliminate the flow of water going down and take away the soil. So the tree, whatever one root of pineapple miss, it takes the second root. The second root miss, the third root will take it.
Well, the live barrier helps to protect the soil. You know, there used to be soil erosion, but once you have in a live barrier, you know, it stops the soil erosion. And that is very important.
The AP&FM has worked with community development committees in Upper Clarendon to supply 64 kilometers of live barriers on farms in flood-prone communities, such as Reckford, Salem, Morgan's Forest, Longbow, Redlands and James Hill. The project has also worked with the CDCs to construct 1,200 micro-check dams.
Recently now, through a grant to our CDC, that's a Community Development Committee, we got some check dams. And right on this property we have one, which joins the parochial road along with the main road, to help to prevent the soil erosion and to help to slow the flow of the water. I think they have been quite effective, you know. Because when I walk down the main there, I see less soil down on the main there. What used to come down, I no longer see that coming down. And then down the bottom there used to be so blocked that the water was going on the road. But since the check dam and down there has been cleared, we don't have that problem again.
Well, the live barriers will work with the dead barriers. So it will help minimize the rate of erosion more. We have a dead barrier right here. Yeah, so this will help build back the land. Before the barrier, you used to have soil erosion, where the soil will move away from the roots and it will wash down further down the field. And now we have the barrier in place. You can see evidence where the soil is backing up and building up back.
On my farm, we are hillside farmers, right? And when you work on hillside, you intend to have a lot of soil erosion because the place is very steep. So when you use these barriers, it helps to build up back the soil.
The James Hill farmers have adapted well to this new proactive method of protecting their farms from the inevitable elements of nature. They believe that this project is an adequate solution to combating the natural challenges of farming that have plagued them for so many years.
Saying to people, this is what can happen, but they don't see, they don't believe. But once you see what's gonna take place, you're seeing, you're looking at what's going on, then you're gonna believe, say, yes, it can.
Climate change is a significant threat to rural communities that are vulnerable due to their geographic location and economic situation. The Adaptation Program and Financing Mechanism, AP&FM, for the Pilot Program for Climate Resilience, PPCR, through the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica, EFJ, has funded efforts to build the resilience of communities such as Jeffreytown in St. Mary.
Jettown Products started within the Farmers Association because the women wanted to try and do something to earn an additional income for themselves. We chose to make flour. We have our own traditional sweet potato pudding mix. We also make a gluten-free dumpling mix. We make plantain porridge mix, and of course we have the flours, the straight flour, cassava, breadfruit, sweet potato. The AP&FM financing was to build a refrigerator. We store our potatoes in there, and then now we use the production centre behind us to do our wet work and our drying. We started off, myself and production manager Daniel, working 3 or 4 days a month. And now we have a group of 7 or 8 part-timers, and we work every day, right? We make 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of flour a month.
The production process is pretty simple. It's potatoes coming in from the field. It's washed, sliced, peeled, dry. They bring them in a chip form, and those chips go through the mill and comes out flour. Here at Jeton Products, our facility is solar powered.
The Greenhouse Project was part of the AP&FM grant fund through the EFJ. So we have a greenhouse that needed to be moved from one point to another, and to build a water catchment base, storage base to supply that greenhouse, plus another greenhouse that we had. So the one that the project really funded was very, very successful. And we are in the process now to restart undercropping in there.
The Jeffreytown Farmers Association has received a number of local and international awards over the years, including the Equator Prize for promoting local sustainable development solutions. It is increasing climate resilience through community-driven efforts.
It's helping food security in that way, and helping livelihoods, actual cash flow in your pocket, helps build resilience in a community.
Our whole endeavor with all the projects that we've done is about climate resilience. And I believe personally that we have to do more protective agriculture, like greenhouse farming.
Innovation is key in adding value to products.
We were the first in Jamaica to produce the sweet potato pudding mix, where we add our value, make it into a packet that you can just add water and bake a pudding in a short space of time.
I think it's a good idea to be innovative. I think you need to think through the process to make certain that your ideas can come to fruition. You want to see that there's a niche for what you can do and what you can deliver. And even if you're doing the same as somebody else, there must be demand for what you are doing so that you can fit in. So you have to have an income generating activity that is sustainable, can hold its place in the market, and can maintain the assets of the association or the group.
And what are some of the lessons that have been learned?
Utilize the people that have the expertise before you implement or put in a project or apply for a project.
The most important thing is to be honest, to work hard, and to build a decent reputation, because people will help you if they see that you are working towards a sensible and attainable goals.
Don't allow your goal to be directed by outside voices. Find your niche product, find something different, fit a gap, find something that makes sense and is viable and can help you.
Have a plan. You must have a roadmap for where you really want to go, and keep plugging at it. Experience has taught us to be very wary of the tradesmen you use to deliver your projects for you. It's important to remember that the cheapest is not always the best. You need to get reputable people to produce the goods for your project, separate and apart from the community contribution. You need to listen to the local people. They know what happens in their community.
Our best resources is our people and our land that we have. And the conditions, as bad as the weather is, we can survive. It's only up for us to allow the people to utilize the space that they have.
To learn more about the AP&FM, visit www.ppcrja.org.jn.
Research shows that many Jamaicans are aware of how climate change affects them. However, they need funding to make the changes necessary to adapt to climate impacts. This challenge is addressed to some extent through the Adaptation Program and Financing Mechanism AP&FM for the Pilot Program for Climate Resilience. The AP&FM has partnered with the Environmental Foundation of Jamaica and the JN Bank to offer grants and loans through the Special Climate Change Adaptation Fund SCAF and the Climate Change Line of Credit CCLOC.
The Environmental Foundation of Jamaica functions as the fund administrator for the Special Climate Change Adaptation Fund. This is a partnership with the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the IDB, and we give grants to eligible organizations.
The Climate Smart Loan was set up to assist businesses operating in the agriculture and tourism sectors to implement climate change technologies so that their businesses can be resilient with any climate changes that may occur.
Most of those projects on the climate resilient cropping systems were for greenhouses and shade houses, and we were successful in implementing 46 greenhouses, which had a total of 134,000 square feet of agricultural production taking place in those greenhouses. We were able to do water management projects, and from our data thus far, over 8 million gallons of water have been harvested and stored for use for both agricultural and domestic purposes.
I think a major success for us was being able to disburse a little over $300 million, and we were able to support over 299 business operators, 299 loans, close to 300.
In the first round of the call that we did, we found that there was a challenge in distinguishing between climate change adaptation and climate change mitigation, and so the proposals were not as strong as they should be. The other thing we found was that a lot of the organizations operating in the eastern and western sections of the island were not very responsive. And so we had to now find a way to target them and also to ensure that we got better quality proposals. So we increased our proposal writing sessions. We tailor-made it so that it addressed the issues that we were finding. And so by the time we had the second call for proposals, we had better projects. In the first call, we struggled to award 29 projects. By the second call, we were able to award 55 projects.
The ethos of Jane's Small Business Loans is to support the underserved, and that was not a difference in our approach with this particular program. So our focus was really on the underserved. As you know, there are particular families that are more vulnerable, particularly those headed by females, and so there was no difference. We did make the process one that is accessible to all.
We found that for the majority of the community-based organizations we worked with, there were women in charge. In fact, in the second phase of the SCAF that we did, a lot of the organizations were led by women, and so they were at the forefront in the implementation of those projects.
I think when we talk about sustainability for a program of this nature, we talk about expanding the sectors and the industries that the program supports. So initially I would have shared with you the program as is was geared towards the agricultural sector and the tourism sector, opening up to sectors such as the manufacturing sector and construction is going to be very important.
A lot of the organizations lack capacity, and you have to find ways to work with them given their capacity issues. They're excited to start the projects and to do the work on the ground, but sometimes they lack the capacity. And what we have found is that you would start the project with person A and B, and by the time you get to the closure of the projects, those people would have moved on, and there are different people in the organization that you have to work with. So we had that in terms of capacity issue. We had, again, as I said, the pandemic would have impacted them. And then to sell the idea to them that these projects need to be sustainable, that means after we have given you the funding, you have to make sure that whatever systems you put in place have the projects being successful and maintained.
To learn more about the AP&FM, visit www.ppcrja.org.jm.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
So, good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Indy McClymont Lafayette, the Knowledge Management and Communications Consultant with the Adaptation Program and Financing Mechanism of the Pilot Program for Climate Resilience. I would really like to thank you very, very much for your patience. We have started a little bit behind the time, but thank you. Special thanks to those persons we had some confusion with the venue, so thank you for persevering and sorting that out. I'd like to give a special acknowledgement and welcome to Mr. Clive Mundell, Deputy Mayor of Maypen. He will be giving us a few remarks on behalf of the mayor. We also are happy to have Minister Pernell Charles with us this morning. Pernell Charles Jr., he just stepped out for a minute, but he will be sharing with us in short order. Today, as you know, we have our celebration of the achievement of the, I'll just say the AP&FM as you know it because it's much shorter. The celebration of the achievements of the AP&FM in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed area. As you know, the URMW has been identified as one of the most vulnerable and degraded watersheds in Jamaica. Indeed, it is an area, though, that is very critical for our water supply in Middlesex. And so its preservation means a lot for our survival. This morning, we're going to be talking about what has been done over the past 5 years under the project, you know, as we've been active in the area. And I'm very happy that we have several persons from the communities that we've been working with whose commitment and dedication has made, you know, the project successful. So an official welcome to those persons who are here physically as well as those that are joining us via live stream. I will now invite our Senior Administrative Officer, Ms. Angela Layla, to open in prayer.
Good morning. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, this morning we honor your name because you are holy, because there is none like you. You, God, continue to be our rock, our refuge, our fortress. And for that, we give you thanks that this morning we would have received your new mercies, not by anything that we have done, but because, God, you are God and you continue to show us mercies. So we thank you this morning for life. We thank you that this morning we were able to travel from our different destinations to gather here to share and to celebrate. Father God, as we share, as we celebrate, we invite your presence in our midst. And we ask, God, that everything that will be done here today, Lord, may it honor you. May it bring glory to you. Mighty God, we just ask that your presence be with us. And Lord, at the end of it, that your Holy Spirit will guide, guard, keep and protect us and carry us back to our destination safely. Father God, I say, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as I tell you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Angela, for that. Do I need to work with this mic? Okay. Let me begin by apologizing for the absence of our project manager, Mrs. Dr. Winsome Townsend, who has been integral to all that has been achieved by the AP&FM so far. I know she's watching via live stream and that she is here with us in spirit. With that said though, let me make a confession. I was born and raised in Clarendon, Moko to be exact. And it was only when I joined the AP&FM that I really started learning places in Clarendon. Some places, well, people always joke about Moko, but you know, I went all over and I really appreciated the parish. And it has been a learning for me. One of the most impactful things that I remember when we went on some of our monitoring of the different project areas has been going to some of the schools, and I'm happy we have James Hill here with us this morning. You know, when some of them got the rainwater harvesting systems, what many of the teachers and principals said when they spoke with us is the difference that has been made in how the school operates because of better access to water. The fact that they no longer have to close schools because there is no water, or that there are less issues with sanitation because children can wash their hands regularly. So that was a real pleasure to know that, you know, the project is making a difference. The AP&FM indeed has focused strongly on water management and conservation in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed. Quite a bit has been done over the time, and I'll just share some of that. We've been able to put in 18 multiple interception for climate resilience optimization. That's a long word for micro check dams, which has been helpful in reducing erosion, soil erosion, and flooding risk in the area. We have put in 49 600-gallon tanks. We gave those to 49 farmers after COVID when there were some real challenges. 88 public community sites were supplied with water tanks. We have been able to rehabilitate 2 rainwater ponds in Recklands and Bog Hole, and given 100 rainwater irrigation kits as well. So that's in terms of water conservation. What's been exciting to see as well is how the communities have welcomed the opportunity to build their climate resilience through climate smart agriculture. There was the installation of 6 aquaponics systems in Alston, Town, Riches, Johns Hall, James Hill, and Rock Primary and Infant School. And we'll hear from Mr. Simmons about some of the experiences with the aquaponics. We have also implemented 6 greenhouses / shade houses, 3 in Bog Hole actually, 2 on Curly Elliott Road, 1 on Chocolate Road. Bustamante High School also got 1. Central Jamaica Social Development Initiative and the Clarendon PC. And we also ensure that farmers have been trained in aquaponics and greenhouse farming. Another area of enhancement has been that of food processing and agro-processing. Our food security is greatly affected by climate change, as you know, and so we're trying to boost some of that. So we have erected 5 post-harvest storage and processing facilities in the area. And again, some of the beneficiaries, Central Jamaica Social Development Initiative, their facilities now able to process up to 5,000 pounds per week of mixed legumes and tubers. Knox Community College upgraded their solar and wind power generation. So they use pig waste to energy conversion, and they were able to pump harvested water to farms and do lighting for chicken and pig rearing units. So this ensures better food security and capacity to use renewable energy. So indeed, we are encouraging innovation in the communities. Mountainside Juices Benevolent Society also was a beneficiary. A processing plant was built for juices, and unemployed women were able to work with RADA to organize into business groups that uses some of the surplus from local foods to make juices and sell to the schools. Claude McKay High, they got a 20-foot, 100% solar-powered refrigerating container to store meat produced at the school farm. And then we also worked with the Northern Clarendon Food Production Company to totally renovate that area, so a lot of produce can be stored and manufactured there. Another area that we have been working is agroforestry, because deforestation has really impacted the watershed. So through our agroforestry program, over 60 farmers were trained in agroforestry, and they were able to use we provided 3,000 fruit seedlings, 3,000 timber seedlings, as well as 3,000 packs with 300,000 seeds for intercropping. So then that will help them to have both short-term and long-term crops to utilize. For reforestation, we worked mainly in Pennants. We cultivated 15 hectares of forest with 3,000 timber plants. And this was actually done by the Northern Rio Minho Local Forest Management Committee. So if you're listening, you realize that the communities themselves have taken ownership and have been doing a lot of the work. So we've been facilitating, but it wouldn't work if we didn't have the strong community buy-in that we did. We have also worked with the University of the West Indies Climate Studies Group on our crop and livestock resilience and suitability modeling. What that has been doing is working with the farmers to see what crops are best suited for that area, based on weather and soil conditions, because the farmers will have to be transitioning to more climate smart crops. So UWI has been putting the science into it to help guide the farmers, and we were able to facilitate that. Another area that we have looked at is vulnerability planning, because we know that with flooding, drought, hurricane, and some of those impacts of climate change, a lot of areas are more vulnerable. We have been able to do vulnerability plans for 15 priority communities in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed area, as well as climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction plans. And I'm glad the municipal corporation is represented here, because you will help us in sustainability and implementing some of those plans. A climate change adaptation plan was also prepared for the entire Rio Minho watershed area. We have also been doing ongoing training with our capacity building for local government professionals. That was done island-wide for policymakers and government ministries. So of the 229 policy and decision makers that we trained, 27 of those were from Clarendon, and we were happy with the participation from Clarendon. We have also been doing ongoing climate change awareness in the area. You'll see some of the students wearing their masks. We had climate change awareness competition among the schools, which was very staunchly defended. And in the end, we had Claude McKay High winning the third prize of 150,000 in prizes. James Hill Primary won 300,000 and Stacyville won 500,000. So that was, significant for us. As I close, I have to mention our financing mechanisms. Through our climate change adaptation line of credit, 20 individual small and micro entrepreneurs in Clarendon were awarded loans of up to $5 million to increase the resilience of their agricultural enterprises. Through our special climate change adaptation fund, which gave grants, we had 19 grants of $5 million being also awarded to NGOs and CBOs in Clarendon. Finally, I've spoken a lot about what has been done under the project, and so I'm happy that you'll be able to hear from some of our community partners about their experiences in a few minutes. So thank you for listening, and at this point I would like to invite Mr. Clive Mundell, Deputy Mayor of Bay Pen, to give remarks on behalf of Mayor Mr. Winston Maraj. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. Honorable Minister Pernell Charles Jr., other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. Never doubt a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens that can change the world. Indeed, the adaptation program and financing mechanism for the pilot program for climate resilience, PPC, AP, and FM is a true demonstration of this saying. Today, as we celebrate the accomplishment of a milestone, we also look forward to the future. I remember the day on March 25th, 2017, when this program was launched in the Frankfield division, and that's the division that I represent, by the minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz, signed the document for some US $17.5 million, Jamaican $2 billion, to be allocated to the adaptation program and financing mechanism project. One of 5 projects falling under the pilot program for climate resilience, PPCR, in Jamaica, which saw 1,800 microdam built to prevent soil erosion, 250 communal rainwater harvesting system installed, 3 rainwater pond rehabilitated, 5 aquaponic system established and operating, 3 greenhouse/shade house established and operating. Furthermore, this is truly demonstrated by supporting our social capital and is a major boost to sustain economic, environment, and social livelihood in the upper Rio Minho Watershed area. This area, which has roughly 40 communities and a population of 69,000, some of whom I also represent, and are grateful for the initiative on behalf of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, on behalf of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation and all the residents of the Upper Rio Minho area. Thank you, and we continue to build on this project. And the Clarendon Municipal Corporation continue to lend its support to the project. God bless you. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to tender apologies for Mr. Dwight Sibley's Minister MP for Northern Clarendon. He made 2 commitments this morning, this function and one earlier, but he called me not too long ago to say the other one was running late and he was the keynote speaker, so he wasn't able to make it in time. So I do give my apologies on his behalf. At this time, I would like to invite the James Hill Primary to share a cultural item with us.
Stop It by Ed Campbell.
And me a do it, and you a do it, and we a do it. We are begging to please stop it. Destroy the environment just to put a little change in your pocket.
Climate change affect we bad. Heat wave, flooding, economic loss. Lord, it's sad. Higher death rates or animals becoming extinct. Sister, while we are celebrate, we environment sink.
Practice agroforestry and use energy wisely. Greenhouse gases that cause us pure air. Eat for a climate stable planet. Eat less meat and use up on a farm.
Me a want no. Plant up the vegetables. Eat what you grow. Little from this, the healthy body will show. So, I me a do it, and you a do it, and we a do it. We are begging to please stop it. Destroy the environment just to put a little change in your pocket. That don't worth it.
A very strong message, well delivered there. Thank you very much, James Hill. So I will, before we get to the minister, who you have next on your program, I will just invite Mr. Sheldon Clark. Did I get that right? Pardon me? Sinclair, sorry. That's my bad handwriting, my apologies. Mr. Sheldon Sinclair, who will be giving remarks on behalf of Mr. Philip Henriquez. Mr. Sheldon, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, Deputy Mayor, Master of Ceremony, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you from the warm hills of Clarendon Northwestern. Here on behalf of the MP to bring you greetings. And I'm very amused by the fact that this project is being undertaken, given that Northwest Clarendon is the, what should I say now? That's the beginning of the Rio Minho River that runs from Riches in the hills all the way down to Trouthall in the Frankfield division, where it exits into Mr. Sibley's constituency. We have been undertaking quite a bit of climate resilient initiatives, and it's quite commendable that we are undertaking such initiative. We shouldn't be oblivious to the fact that climate change isn't real, and I can bring to you some very stark realities that will help to bring climate change closer home. In 2017, while traveling from Kingston to work, I got trapped in Frankfield by the heavy rains, the heavy May rains in 2017, right? A town that we have never seen flooded. We have water as high as 2 feet in the town. We had several breakaways that impacted our roadways, right? We had lost 3 bridges, 2 in Frankfield and 1 in Dykesville. Let's fast forward to 2020. In September of this year, we had some heavy rains and we had severe flooding in our section of the island, right? We had lost another bridge that's in Minor. It is on the verge of collapsing now. And we had several breakaways that are still there, evident from 2017. So I'm really applauding the minister on this initiative and looking at, I'm hoping we get some of that money up in our side. And I'm very sure MP, well, my attorney MP, Deputy Mayor will be very happy to get some of that in terms of river training, especially in the lower sections of his division in the Troutal division. And we should also look at some crop resiliency in converting some of that Troutal plains into pineapple production. That would be very good, given that we have now gotten approval to export pineapple to Barbados. So we need to look at some of those initiatives where we can do crop substitution, as the citrus is no longer a viable product in that area. So from the MP's desk to you, I thank you guys and really support this program and this initiative.
Thank you very, very much. I know Mr. Henriquez, we've been back and forth and he was trying, so I'm happy that he was able to send you to represent. At this time, I'm also very, very happy to introduce somebody who I know is a champion for climate change, and since he has been working or taking up the portfolio, he has been everywhere, very active. Well, I know you know who I am talking about, none other than Minister Pernell Charles Jr., who will be giving us our keynote address. Minister, could you come forward?
Thank you. I didn't know that you came from, maybe I didn't remember that you came from the wonderful hills of Moko, which Mr. Monde will tell you I'm very well connected with. Even though I'm not the person there, I've been there with my father. It was maybe more than 20 years he was there. So we have grown up with many of the children in Moko. Let me acknowledge, of course, our Deputy Mayor representing the Mayor and my Councillor, His Worship Vincent Mirage, represented by Mr. Mundle. Of course, Mr. Siblis in his absence, and Mr. Henriquez, ably represented. And you will permit me also to acknowledge our well-suited host, Miss, is Mrs.? Mrs. They have you as Miss. Very dangerous thing, you know. Because see this guy looking on you. It's you. Okay, you see? I tell you, very dangerous thing, the man coming and watching you. So, Mrs. Indy McClymont Lafayette, and your better quarter as well. And all of the children that are here, and I assume officers and parents and perhaps teachers were also involved with James Hill. Am I correct? You're definitely a teacher at James Hill. There's no doubt, right? So let me get to it. The discussion around climate change is a discussion around our survival on this planet, on this country, in this place that we call Jamaica, this place we love. And Deputy Mayor, I often have to remind people when they're saying I'm the Minister of Climate Change, I'm not trying to bring climate change to you. It should really be called the Minister of Climate Action, because we are trying to put in place the necessary measures to build up our adaptation and resilience in our country so we can withstand the impacts of what is coming. Some of it is already irreversible. And I must tell you, when you speak about the adaptation program and financing mechanism under the PPCR, you're talking about two of the most essential elements of our strategic plan to put Jamaica in a position to be able, as a small island developing state surrounded by water, or you can call us a big ocean state, to be able to build up our capacity. And why are we doing this? Well, you heard it all from our children. You don't need to hear from me. James Hill, which happens to be where my beautiful wife was born. Even though she didn't go, I don't think she went to James Hill Primary. The children warned us. They asked us to stop. They asked us to take a step back and assess what we are doing and to ask ourselves whether the activities we are involved in are helpful to their future. That's why I'm very pleased to see that we have our students here. Because any discussion around climate action, any discussion around building resilience, any discussion around the practice of climate smart agriculture or protecting our water sources must involve our youth. They are the most vulnerable group, and they are the ones who stand to lose the most if we don't take the action now. Because this thing happens gradually, you know. It's not just going to happen boom right now. But the reality is the several activities that you'd have heard Mrs. Lafayette discuss are activities that really lay out how we are going to get climate financing money to the communities. How we're going to make sure that when we tap into grant funding, it gets to the schools, gets to the farmers, gets to the fisher folk, and makes a difference in their life so that they can have sustainable livelihoods. The importance of this discussion is resting in the potential of our children to be able to have not only a place to play in terms of spaces that are safe, but also to have food to eat, water to drink. Where do you think we get the food from? Where do you think we're getting the water produced? So the balance and the interaction between us and the environment is what we are discussing and what we are targeting with these programs. And it is indeed my pleasure, because what we are here seeing today are the achievements of collaboration. And it is noteworthy that the main project site is here in Clarendon Parish, which of course is dear to my heart. And I must tell you, what I like about the program is that there is an inclusive approach to working with the local communities and the local stakeholders. Everybody is called in. I recall that before getting this ministerial position, I served right after Daryl, right after Minister Vaz. So when he launched it, it then went into my hands, and I was invited to another program. And there we started the discussion on how the adaptation program and the financing mechanism is going to make an impact in the rural communities. And as God would have it, 2 years later, I am now the minister who is responsible for environment and climate change. And I am so proud of the flagship project, which has piloted several innovative climate change adaptation measures throughout Jamaica, especially in Clarendon. And we're thankful to the Climate Investment Fund, whose executive director I met with in Scotland, and who I have invited to come to Jamaica to see what we are doing so that we can get a little bit more support. And also the Inter-American Development Bank, which funded the project, who I've also met with, and who we are trying to urge them to examine our project and to see the success of it so that we can get more. Because we have to move beyond pilot programs now. Pilot programs are good, but can't be the objective. Yeah? The teacher will tell you. Going to school is not the objective. Can you imagine if going to school and marking attendance, you get the A? Everybody get the A. That's not the objective. But you have to go to school first. And then you are able to absorb the information to learn. And even that is not the objective. Because absorbing the information is one thing. Being able to now translate it to for how you function as an improved and constructive citizen. Now you're talking, we move into objectives. So the Government of Jamaica, we have ensured that both cash and in-kind counterpart funding has been provided to demonstrate commitment and to also ensure sustainability. And as I said to you, the reality for our children, the four who are here, is that climate change poses the greatest risk to their future. Not COVID-19. COVID-19, we have already solved the problem. Get the vaccine. You can't solve climate change like that. And that is why we understand as a government that it is no longer a theoretical concept which few understand. It is something which we are going out to promote so everybody understands their role, their responsibility. And, you know, the connectivity between the discussion of climate action and all other sectors is so stark. You will know, you have gone around and you have had the burden and blessing of trying to translate the scientific information to people. And sometimes they're looking on you like a blank. What are you talking about, Mrs. Indy? I don't know what you're talking about, right? But you have to continue because you're making an impact. You're making an impact. And we have to find ways of breaking down that conversation so people understand that when you destroy our coral reef, for instance, you're not just destroying coral reef, you're destroying your beaches because the coral reefs are the rock formation that stop the waves from running too far onto your shore and taking away the beach. And when you lose the beach, you lose a tourist. When you lose a tourist, money gone. And I could give you several other examples. And so we have to continue as a government, as the stakeholders and the champions of these projects, to drill the information into the heads of those who are looking on you with a blank slate, because they will get it after a while. And we have to always, I hope, and I will encourage, that every single program, every single ceremony must involve children. Must involve our children, get them here so they can hear what is taking place for them. They are the most vulnerable, or among the most vulnerable, and they are the ones that have the most to lose. So, we're talking about connectivity to other areas, agriculture, health, and several other ministries and departments. You're talking about applying adaptation measures like greenhouse farming, aquaponics to increase crop yields, and how we use live barriers, how we construct the micro dams, the individual basins and ditches. All of these things to help us to manage our natural assets, our water, and to prevent soil erosion. Sometimes we don't appreciate how important it is to leave the trees on the hillside. I see so many people scraping up the trees off the hillside. And I'm saying to myself, when those trees are gone, the roots that God gave us to manage the soil and to keep it together, when that's gone, you're going to have intense landslides that will come down, and all the houses you take in those trees to build down the bottom will be destroyed. We're all connected. Yesterday I had the opportunity to speak at the National Biodiversity Conference that my ministry is promulgating. And we spoke about a lot of these concepts. We spoke about the work on agro-processing that is taking place, which we know is taking place in Clarendon, and I'm so happy. And I'd tell you this, I would love to see PPCR come down to Southeast Clarendon. Right? Because we have so much land, and what we're facing, Deputy Mayor, is a shutdown of not just sugar, but as it would have, what do you say, Murphy's Law? Sugar shutdown, Jamal Kabono. Jesus. Eh? One seat in one place, sugar shutdown, Jamal Kabono down. And so you find that you have two of the largest industries of the persons that are absorbing the residents for employment shut down. So it is, I think it is a warning to us, to take heed of the message around climate action and to take heed on the need to diversify our functioning, to diversify our operation and thought, and to move into the kind of industries like agro-processing and such that give people more flexibility and allow you to use in a sustainable way your environment, your fruit trees and such, to make money and regenerate. There is no reason why we can't have a good relationship with the environment. It is because we are taught that as human beings we are so high and mighty, we don't need to care about anything else around us. It's a real thing. We are actually taught that the mission in life is to grow up, find a spouse, buy a house, buy a car, live good. Don't nobody tell you to take care of the place. That is what we are trying to attack next year. We're coming to James Hill with the message as well, through the Renew Jamaica program, to teach our children that along that journey, an important element of becoming a successful adult must be integrating with your environment in a sustainable way. What do you need to breathe? What part of the air? Eh? Clean air, oxygen, right? And what do you put out? Carbon dioxide. What does a plant need? Let me ask one of my students from James Hill. What do plants take in? Huh? Anybody know? Carbon dioxide. And what do plants put out? Oxygen. So if you ever want a better relationship, if you want a better relationship, right? And you agree, one of the best relationships you can have is where both interests are served. Am I right? The best way to have a good relationship is where both interests are served. And when you put out, the other person benefits. And when they put out, you benefit. You can't get a better marriage than that, man. And that's what God has asked us to do. He said, just take care of the thing when we give you for breathing, brother. That's all. It's a simple message. Just take care of what I gave you to live. That's all I'm asking you. I'm not saying you can't use it. No. I taught you how to use it, though. Don't abuse it. Use it. Regenerate it. Find ways like putting in the rainwater harvesting, like putting in the solar that will allow us to minimize how much we use and maximize how we use it. Can I get an amen? I'm almost preaching today. But the reality is, I want to single out also the leadership of the JS and what is happening in Morgan's past processing facilities. Very encouraging and should serve as an example of how we as a government and community, private sector and everyone working together to address climate change and increase livelihoods, improve food security, expand import substitution while earning more foreign exchange. What's your name, teacher? Mahoney? A big name, that man. So, Miss Mahoney, one of the things that bothered me the most, when it came to my understanding as a youngster, that Jamaica, this land of wood and water, imports vegetables. Now I appreciate that hotels need a particular type of look and such for the tourists who come. But the reality is, we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to. We should now, by now, find a way to utilize our land for our purpose so that we can reduce what we import and increase what we export. That is the way to have sustainable economic growth. That's why it's so important. That's why climate change as a ministry is critical. Because we go out and find the money, bring it, hire brilliance, teach the information, try and connect to agriculture ministry, try and connect to the other ministries and see how they can put in place projects that will now stimulate the kind of agriculture that we need to become economic independent. You get what I'm saying? You're a teacher as well? From the same James Hill? Well, I am looking forward to having some of the students at James Hill become the next innovative farmers. Farming is not what my grandfather was a farmer and a police and a community judge and a community lawyer. All in one. That was back in those days when he could do all of those things. But he was a farmer. But what I want them to be is not just a farmer in the traditional sense. I want them to be the kind of professionals that invite the innovation that we're talking about, that use the techniques where you don't waste no water. There's nothing called waste. Right now you have countries in Africa where what we are wasting every day, they are repurposing in every way. They are finding mechanisms to take their waste and treat it and use it to irrigate their farms so they reduce their import bill and increase their export bill. That is what we are pushing from the Ministry of Climate Change, Environment, and all the other things that the Prime Minister has asked me to do. The goal is for us to work together to see how we can look on our unique conditions, because Jamaica is a space where our blessing is our burden. We live in a space where we have sand, what do they call the three S's? What are the three S's? Sand, sun, and sea, surrounded by sea. So everybody in Europe wants to come to Jamaica because the sand and the sun and the sea. And they have a few other things. But we won't. I'll invite you to imagine. But the reality is, we need to use the sun in a more beneficial way. So introducing renewables is us maximizing the assets that we've gotten. We need to protect the sun and the beaches by making sure we have the natural sea and coastline defense. We need to make sure that we are doing what is necessary to demonstrate the adaptation and resilience, because we know that even though we can invite and attract tourists, what else do we attract? Hurricane. Jamaica is in a zone where our blessing is our burden. The same geographical location that makes us ideal for someone to come and enjoy is the same geographical location that makes us ideal for a Category 5 hurricane because of the warming. But climate change is warming the planet more and causing those hurricanes to become more frequent and more intense. This is why these programs are important, because you're going to find that through these programs, we're going to be able to build up our ability to withstand the hurricanes. Let me move quickly. I want to thank the project manager, project staff, my permanent secretary who is not here, and staff of my ministry, and all who have been involved in this project, IDB, CIF, RADA, JAS, the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, and the Parish Development Committee as well, which has really been critical. And in his absence, I want to please send greetings to Mayor Mirage. We can't see him in Southeast Clarendon, he's so busy. He's a busy mayor. Tell him we invite him to his division. A joke, I was with him yesterday. We launched the Wi-Fi in Lionel Town yesterday. But I must let you know that the ministry is going to continue to support in any way we can climate change adaptation work in this area, and we will seek to expand our activities. And it is clear to me that this this information that we are imparting is critical. We are going to have next year a Renew Jamaica program, which will take a fresh look on the Jamaican environment through the lens of climate change and allow us to be able to teach our students and teach our communities. We've gone a long way in demonstrating the practices through these programs, and it has truly allowed us to move in a positive way to our goal of really now limiting temperatures to an increase of below 1.5 degrees. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as a government, as I said, we are committed to making sustainable development a way of life. And this can only be done if we adapt as best we can, and if we build resilience, and if we understand that these projects will help us to become the kind of country that has sustainable economic growth and an engine to maintain our growth. My fellow Jamaicans, people of Clarendon, all who are watching us online, perhaps you're streaming live, and to our students in particular, I want to thank you, and I want to wish you well for your future as we do what we can to serve and to protect the future for you. One love.
Thank you very, very much. Can we have another round of applause for him, please? A lot of challenges in terms of challenging us and the young people, the students, to really be climate champions, take climate action seriously. So I hope those messages build on what we've been doing, positive reinforcement. Thank you again, Minister. At this time, let me ask one community champion who is very passionate about his work with the aquaponic system. He actually is Mr. Lassell Simmons, who is the president of the Development Area Committee. I'm making sure I get the title right, and the Alston Community Development Committee as well. He has been pushing, working very hard to ensure that the aquaponics systems up in the area are functional and integrating the community members. So I'll just invite him now to share his experience with us. Mr. Simmons, can you join, please?
Please put your seatbelt on. Turbulence time. It's going to be a long haul. I hope the minister have time, maybe a long week here. A pleasant good morning, everyone. Of course, my name is Lassell Simmons. Of course, that long title that they try to bestow upon me. President of the Spaldings DSC, President of the CDC in Alston, President of so many other caps that I wear. However, I'll spare you some of those details. May I acknowledge all protocols observed. Okay? I have a bag book of notes there that I should carry up here that would have taken us that long journey. But I reckon I see the time, space that all the others use, so I just left them, right? I use this opportunity to at least, children, you're the star of the show. We should never be in Maypen, and there's a man that holds the key to the city of Maypen. You representing the mayor, I would greet him as comrade. He first would call me comrade when he saw it, right? And comrade has no political bearing. Comrade for taking you all to school. Comrade is a spirit of friendship, right? So first time I remember extending an arm to the mayor and say, comrade, he pulled back his hand, right? And then I remind him that the dictionary meaning of comrade. So every time you see me wherever, back, at the back I am, comrade! So that's my friend, all right? Okay. However, respect to those people, let me also give my biggest shout out to the Costas of the parish of Clarendon. He holds the key to the city of AP&FM. Enough respect to our Costas. While I must say, they give me some of the title. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm a community advocate. I'm a proud farmer, most of all. Fundamentally, I say the word is love. Because of my volunteerism, I caring and sharing nature, the Social Development Commission, SDC, awarded me as a most outstanding community stalwart in 2019. Of course, volunteerism is a curse word for most young people. You meet anybody that you ask to volunteer and they, what am I getting from it? So I am getting old, and some of the older stalwarts, like you say, the people that is representing the communities here. It pains my heart when we try to involve the youngsters, but of course, it's instant gratification that they think of. Now, again I say, hail the kids from James Hill, representing proudly, right? Okay. Again, to Mr. Clarendon, the man with the key to the city, Costa Shaguri. Okay? Let's acknowledge this man for his passion, his love, his caring and sharing while building communities. I'll divert a little bit. We might talk about climate resilience, and we might talk about all the other tourism and all the other aspects of things. But there's a monster of crime and violence that plagues the communities. More so, even the systems, the projects, pilot projects that we now receive, we are suffering from pilfering, and we plant and these people reap. Right? Costas would have made a dent and is impacting, he connects in terms of giving to the Crime Prevention Committee all police station in the parish of Clarendon benefits from his generosity annually. Yours truly turned star by getting a Santa suit and choose Paulins, I'm Santa Claus. Right? Costas would make sure his presence is there. Since COVID, of course, all of that is done. Right? Last 2019, we got the Costas from Manchester as well, and we had a ball. All right, fast forward to what is happening in the hills of Clarendon. We have 5 aquaponics projects that with maybe 5 million challenges. 5 projects, but the challenges are many. Not just the thieves. There are a lot of people who is supposed to be helping us. And I'll just get rid of the bad news first, because they are good news, right? The people that is there and they say help, help doesn't necessarily mean helping you. Most time is helping themselves. Simple put, some people take a job, and why do they work? It's to collect pay. It's not love some teacher teaches, and it's not love for the children. Of course, there are some people who are passionate and love children, and they'll go the extra mile. I would have had some bittersweet experience with some of the people who try to hijack the project. Credit must be given to the people who really give and whose generosity we applaud, and we continue to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We are still in Maypen, so the Parish Development Committee, the #1 PDC in Jamaica. Specifically, Miss Eureka Douglas. She's such an amazing leader. Along with the staff of the PDC. The governance structure that makes Clarendon and it's as strong as it is, based on the PDC I mentioned, the PDC, the DAC, the CDC, right, coordinates things in the parish, right? So even now that we're thinking aquaponics or the greenhouse, we are now getting on board the PDC to assist in the regulatory body. All right. I would like to say to the agencies, all the agencies, be it IBD, the Climate Investment Fund, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, to all the people that helped to give us this platform, shine some light in our communities. Gratitude is a must. We highlight Dr. Barrett specifically. She is like our mother hen. She is like whatever the time of night or day, we have members that will pick up the phone to say, Dr. Barrett, challenge, challenge, and she's always there for us. Since I am sitting here with representative of the mayor, representatives of the minister himself, representative of our Northwestern Clarendon MP, let us ask that we're not just here as a show. Let us ask that saying welcome on board, you might have given commitment, but sometimes, like I say, some agency is a movie that they star, right? I mean, let us be for real. Let us think of those children, right? Let us show them that when we say something, we mean what we say, right? I am again saying the journey thus far is a mixed blessing, and we are thankful to AP&FM in particular. One love, everyone. Jesus.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simmons. Minister and his team, I know you have to go. We appreciate the time spent and safe travel on to the next event. Yes, thank you. Can we just give Mr. Simmons another? I know he has been working very hard on the ground and he has been a stalwart, and the AP&FM team really appreciates the support that you have given us over the time. I have to give apologies for Mr. Patrick Blair. He was supposed to share with us on his experience in Bog Hole with his greenhouse. However, he had an emergency. When we called him when we were starting, he said he had a family issue and he won't be able to make it. He was trying to get somebody to come, but I haven't seen anybody, so I'll tend his apologies. I would, however, like to ask Miss Charmaine Mundell who is the president of the Johns Hall CDC, to just share with us and give a few remarks. So can we welcome her, please?
Good morning, everyone. Deputy Mayor, Representative, and Miss Indy, we are happy to be here. And we at Johns Hall is very much appreciative of the project. We believe it is a very good, it is an excellent initiative by the government, and so we applaud them too. Well, the citizens of Johns Hall are benefited in many different ways. One of the first benefits is that it is a community development. And as members of a community, we are always striving for community development. So this is a great community development. This system also, it provides communication and cooperation amongst community members, and that is also very important. When we have community members bonding together to do projects for the success of the community, it is a good thing. We use our project site as an educational site. Persons come there to see that there are many ways and different ways agricultural techniques can be used. And as a new technique in the community, persons are excited. So sometimes they just come to look at what is going on with the aquaponics project. So we use it as an educational site as well, which also assists our students at Johns Hall Primary and also the Johns Hall Basic School to show them that agriculture can be done in many different ways. It's not always like what the grandfather and the father just go to the farm to do, but it can be done in many ways. Our projects, we are very happy that it also creates fish protein and vegetable for our community members and its environs. You know that some persons would probably want to eat fish, but they can't go to Frankfield or Spalding's to buy it. It is right there at a very reasonable cost. And even the vegetables as well. You know that when it's in the community, they will get it at a little cheaper price. And so that is also a benefit to the entire community of Johns Hall. However, it also shows that there are many ways to overcome the challenges of farming in the soil. We show them a different technique, and the community is so grateful. And we also show them that this type of farming is a completely natural process. And so we don't have to be using fertilizers and all those chemicals. We are very grateful at Johns Hall and AP&FM, and we'd also like to applaud Dr. Barrett for standing beside us, yes, and when we are lagging, she will be there to hold us up and to get us through, and we are very grateful. So John Zal is very grateful, and we are thankful to the government, to AP&FM, and for this project towards the development of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mundell, for those heartfelt words. We appreciate the sentiments. I must add that Dr. Bridget Barrett is the community animator for the adaptation program and financing mechanism. And I know that she has been on the ground with everybody. So I do add to that appreciation for the work that she is doing. And I am going to call another stalwart in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed, who we call on a lot as well. She is the president of the Bullhead Mountain Benevolent Society, and she will tell us, give us some thoughts on the experience today. So let me call, without any further ado, Tracy Mahoney to speak. Thank you. Can we welcome her, please?
I'm not used to this name, but Mrs. Lafayette, our MC, Deputy Mayor Mundell, Mr. Sinclair, colleagues, community workers, my students, still morning? Good morning. My preparation for presentation this morning is a little different. I did not really come with anecdotes or a lot of anecdotes. I wanted to present more on how agroforestry and reforestation has impacted the Upper Rio Minho Watershed. So, in so doing, I would first like to say that climate change will increasingly affect agricultural conditions. And the AP&FM project, by way of the Agroforestry and Reforestation Project, has caused farming practices of the farmers in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed to evolve so as to adapt to this climate change. In 2007, Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations stated that the agroecology was the most reliable way to guarantee food security in our future. They based their findings on tangible data collected in different countries like our little Jamaica. As residents of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed, we have first-hand experience of the way climate change and the catastrophes that it causes can affect us. The AP&FM project came to the Upper Rio Minho Watershed at the right time and reintroduced our farmers to agroforestry, which is the smart integration of trees into farming. It has enabled our farmers who in the past operated from full sun fields and were vulnerable and contributing to ecosystem degradation to now operate from a place where they are better able to preserve productive ecosystem and adapt to this climate change. The trees provided multiple services for improved quality and long-term sustainability and production. Different agroforestry models with trees integrated in the perimeter of fields, intercropped, and at landscape level are some models which the farmers of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed have learned and integrated in their daily farming practices. These agroforestry practices have been delivering a mix of various ecosystem services for our farmers. As such, reforestation projects help small and disadvantaged farmers like us in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed, and by extension populations, to plant trees and reforest their parcels of land where they previously could not afford it or did not have the capacity to implement such an initiative. The farmers have benefited, Lady Lafayette, in terms of natural resources, preservation, soil enrichment, increased and diverse incomes also. Further to this, land conservation with agroforestry is a powerful tool which the AP&FM Project has exposed the farmers of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed to, and by so doing have enabled them to restore degraded ecosystems and improve their livelihood. Prior to the introduction of this project, many of our farmers were often affected by erosion due to wind and rain and wandering livestock. They cultivated monoculture fields and very limited crops. They suffered losses due to water runoff and evaporation. And we also saw some of our farmers still practicing the age-old style of slash and burn to prepare the land, as well as use of chemical inputs to boost growth. However, things have changed. Together with trees, multifunctional agroforestry systems acting as natural ecosystems allow a progressive enrichment. It is well adapted to small areas for local farmers, particularly those of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed. Agroforestry in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed has given rise to soil enrichment due to the fixed carbon in the soil and wood. Our farmers have been experiencing a rise in fertility and better crops, as well as water conservation due to this agroforestry. The Upper Rio Minho Watershed farmers have also acquired new and relevant skill sets due to training they have been exposed to from the AP&FM project. This training has even broadened their scope of thinking to embrace biodiversity and cultivate a variety of crops as well as livestock on one small parcel of land. The rare incidents of bushfire now, Lady Lafayette, are far and few in between when they do occur in the Upper Rio Minho Watershed, and they are not caused from farmers anymore, as all our biomasses are recycled for mulching, compost, and other uses. Additionally, the trees are sources of extra income for our farmers of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed. And the timber trees at full growth will produce log, and the fruit trees will produce crops, and these will be used to supplement our farmers' income. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand with mixed thoughts today. I am elated for having had the opportunity with the farmers of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed to gain new and relevant skill sets in the area of agroforestry and reforestation that the AP&FM project enabled. However, disheartened to say goodbye, as there is much more support that the farmers of the Upper Rio Minho Watershed need in order to obtain optimal yield from their farms and to sustain the practice of smart farming. If there is any way to stay with us, please don't go. Blessings.
I really feel that one, and I hear the sentiment. I must say that we are hoping that we can stick around a little longer, but we don't know yet. So let's see. It's our prayer that we do get the chance to stick around a little bit longer. But we'll be in touch, as things evolve. But thank you very much for your remarks. And I will tag you later for that, because we can also share some of those more widely. I No GIS was here earlier, and we are live streaming, and some media representatives also will be capturing a bit of this. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been true stalwarts, and we are pulling to a close at this time. And so I really want to thank you for your consistent attention. Even the students, I noticed everybody was, paying attention, and I really appreciate that. At this point, let me ask Ms. Carmen Dillon from James Hill to share with us the vote of thanks.
To our able chairman, Miss Indy, can I just say Miss Indy? To our deputy mayor, Mr. Clive Mundle. Well, sorry, Mr. Charles had to leave. Of course, Mr. Sinclair, other invited guests who so ably represented the different communities, and of course, these children, my students, our students, and all the other persons who have made this function a success. Good evening. A morning, I wanted it to be evening. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. And I hope nobody is sleeping. I won't bore you. You have done well so far. I'm just going to put the icing on the cake. Let me first thank God for making today's occasion a resounding success. Secondly, I thank our special guest and keynote speaker. Of course, Mr. Charles, he did a wonderful job. Who, despite his busy schedule, has found time to grace us with his presence and to address us in such a profound way. He is absent, but thanks. To our Deputy Mayor, Mr. Clive Mundle, thank you also for being here. We are rather grateful for the representatives in person of Mr. Lassell Simmons. Of course, Ms. Mundle, Ms. Tracy Ann Mahoney, you have all testified about the numerous successes experienced as a result of the petition, planning, programs, projects, and trainings that are birthed by the hard-working AP&FM team and other stakeholders. I think we can applaud them. I must therefore express how grateful we are for the funders. As Inter-American Development Bank, we say IDB, the Climate Investment Funds, the Government of Jamaica, the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, and of course the focal point, the Planning Institute of Jamaica. We were entertained by these students, not only entertainment, but we got messages from the item that they rendered. This had added some spice to the event. Students, thank you very much. And at least you're not sleeping. I therefore applaud the students of the noble institution, James Hill Primary, that Ms. Mahoney and I are part of. You have made us proud. Thank you very much. And by the way, the journey from there to here is something to be talked about. To Miss Indy McClymont Lafayette, Miss Barrett, who is not here, and I know, and all the hardworking, supportive staff of AP&FM, thank you all for making our communities better, the Upper Rio Minho area, and all of us who have benefited. We thank you wholeheartedly. We have learned, We have gathered experience. We have benefited in so many ways. We are rather grateful. A number of persons know Rio and other hotels because of AP&FM. It would have cost us so much to go to Rio, but we were privileged to be in hotel, putting up our legs and experiencing the wonderful experience of the ambience of Rio and other hotels. Thank you very much. Check dams were built, preventing soil erosion or further soil erosion. The greenhouses, the live barrier projects, all these were some of the successes. More water is secured. Thank you. The aquaponics system came on stream. This is another wonderful project. We thank you very much. It was just yesterday that we got new generators, and we are so mighty proud. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much more to highlight, but time will not permit me. Thanks to everyone who has contributed one way or another to make this ceremony a success. I close with this thought by Martin Luther King. An individual has not started living until he rises above the confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Thank you all very much, and we are proud to be partakers of all the successes. Thank you, everyone. Safe journey home, and we hope to see you some more, because the journey has just started, and we hope to achieve more from all these projects. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank everybody again for their time. We do have some refreshments that should be here in a few minutes, so if you don't mind just holding on for a bit. It was a pleasure. Thank you for sharing this time with us, and we will be in touch further. It's just that we wanted to highlight as we are coming to a close for that set of activities. So we will still be ongoing, we'll still be checking in. Thanks also to all the persons who followed us on live stream. We're happy that you took the time. Thank you for all the teamwork to make this happen. Thanks again.
Thank you.